As you can tell, my theme today is going to be about that really, really difficult word called love, okay? I'm going to start my message out with this. There's a big difference between falling in love and staying in love. One takes a pulse, the other takes a commitment. And as we all know, Hollywood is really big on falling in love, but I don't believe Hollywood is so much on staying in love when we watch what happens there. The math of marriage is very simple, I'm going to suggest to you today, but it's also very complex. In mathematics, if I say 1 plus 1 equals what, you're going to say what? 2. 2, exactly. But Jesus tells us that 1 plus 1 equals 1. Think about that today, okay? He makes it very plain to us that when two people get married, two people become one flesh. So the first question I'm going to talk about is this: can two really become one? Today we're going to be talking about that word called love, because love answers the questions. How can two stay one? And is it possible to stay in love after you fall in love? Some things we're going to be talking about. There were some kids that their survey was taken. They were asked this question: how can a married couple stay in love? Here are just a few of those answers. The first one from Tommy, age 7. He said, spend most of your time loving instead of going to work. We kind of like that at times, wouldn't we? They get much better. Roger, age 8, said this: don't forget your wife's name. That will mess up love. For sure, he said. Randy, age 8, said this: be a good kisser. It might make your wife forget that you forgot to take out the trash. I'm wondering how Randy, age 8, knew about kissing. If you really think about it, those are some good pieces of advice. But obviously, they're not enough. I can kind of testify to that after 43 years of marriage. Staying in love is not something that happens automatically. Nor is it something that happens easily. Except in my case, I'm sure Debbie would tell you I am so lovable and easy to get along with. The unfortunate thing, she hasn't been to a service yet to hear me say that. So, I'm telling you today it is true that real love is how two can stay one. Real love is the glue that holds a marriage together. Real love is the foundation of any relationship that endures. So what I'm doing today is not just talking to the married couples that are here. I'm talking to everybody about how we love and care for everybody. Our kids, our brothers and sisters, our acquaintances, our friends, our classmates, our co-workers. We can learn today that the love that Jesus spoke about is not what you read about in a romantic novel or something you see in Hollywood fairy tales. It's nothing you turn on the Hallmark Channel and watch for the 100th time, the same type of script. Everybody loves love. People like the idea of a God who is love. We are in love with the idea of love. We love in America so much that we have an entire day that we've just gone through called Valentine's Day that's devoted to expressing love. And yes, it is a true holiday. I've heard so many people say that Valentine's Day is just a Hallmark card day. No, it's not. There was a Saint Valentine who was in the 2nd century marrying people, whether they were supposed to be married or not. He went around marrying people, regardless of what the parents thought. Jesus said to us, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I loved you. You are also to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. The interesting thing about what Jesus commanded his disciples to do was he was talking to his disciples. He wasn't talking to married couples or to friends or that. That message was focused on his disciples. In other words, he was saying, go out into the world. Show everyone that you love them. And that will in turn show people that I love them. I think it's really interesting. You know, for some people this word love can be very, very difficult to understand, and it's such a long word, right? L-O-V-E. You're going to get a little bit of what I tend to talk about at my wedding sermons a little bit today. So sorry, Cindy, you'll hear this a little bit again. Your son's getting married in a month. If I were to ask you this word love, is it an emotion? Raise your hand if you think love is an emotion. There's a few hands you're thinking about it. You also know that I never go with what I ask. Yes, I'm going to suggest to you that love is an emotion to start with. But think about this. If we laugh, laughing is an emotion, right? No question about that. When we laugh, do we laugh the rest of our lives? No. Not at the same thing, Joanne. Okay? We move on. It tapers off. If something happens and we cry, as so often happens, is that an emotion? Yes. But that emotion dies out after a while. Is love an emotion? Yes, it is initially. You see someone initially and you go, wow, I love her. But what do you do after 10, 20, 30? Go on with the numbers. What do you do with that? You have to make sure that emotion does not taper off and go away. That is the challenge we have. That's why divorce is so hard. One more question for you today is love. Do you think of love as a noun or a verb? I think love has to be a verb. It's an action word. It's something that we have to work hard at. No matter, when you say, well, I love that person, is it hard to work at that time? No. But you know what? Here's love. It's a wave. You have your ups and you have your downs. And when you're down, it's hard to work at it at times. Very hard to work at it at times. But you have to do that. I have so many people come into my office and say, Pastor, we just fell out of love. She went her way, I went my way. Things like that. You know what? That's what we have to work on. But that does not happen. Now I look around and I see so many people here that have lost a spouse. And if you think back to when your spouse was with you, you had to work hard at it. And maybe that's part of the message we need to carry with us today for those that don't have spouses, is that we need to let our family, our kids, our grandkids know what it takes to truly, truly love someone. Love is not always easy, but love is awesome. And Jesus is telling us to go out and to love. That text that I had Joanne read today says, love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant. All true statements. But you have to work at each and every one of those statements. I've had people tell me those are sad. That's a negative. No, it's not. Because when I work at that, it's positive. It's awesome. Simply put, we need to work hard with our relationships with the people that we care for. One of the things I always tell the couples that are getting married, it's a very simple thing. Never, ever stop dating. I still take Debbie, we go out every Thursday morning, we call it date morning. Every time we get in the car after we go to a restaurant, hey, thanks for the date. Friday night, Valentine, our tradition. We spread a blanket on the floor in front of the fireplace, had fried chicken, some coleslaw, and had a dog staring at us. That's our tradition. We started that with our kids. Back in the house that we had at the time, we had a wood fireplace. We roasted hot dogs on that wood fireplace in the middle of winter, and they loved it. We still call them, so what'd you do today with your kids on Valentine's Day? Once in a while, they'll tell us we had a picnic, Mom or Dad. Find those simple little things that don't have to cost very much. That's what dating is all about. Then we hit you with the ultimate scary question when we're sitting around talking Friday night on the floor, eating that fried chicken. She says, do you remember what we did on our first Valentine's Day? 46 years ago. 2 weeks after we had met. And I looked at her and I smiled. And I said, I gave you a card with a picture of flowers in it. I was in college. Didn't have any money. And she goes, you know, I think you're right. And move on from that one. It's the simple little things we do to the people around us that we love, that they're going to remember. It's those simple little things that we do that show them that